Prostitution is the world's oldest profession. Since the beginning of time, it's been the subject of artists and writers, but rarely have working professionals made their stories public. And it's even more rare that they have the sense of humor it takes to turn it into a theatrical event, the likes of the adventures of Scarlot Harlot.
Hi, I'm Scarlot Harlot. I'm a poet. And tonight I will attempt to demystify prostitution. Oh no!
Well, people always ask, how did a nice girl like you ever get started in this line of work? But, you know, there's a popular misconception. Actually, prostitutes are very, very nice. That's part of the skill that we need in order to keep our clientele.
Prostitution. 1. Trading sexual services for money or goods. 2. The act of selling one's talents for an unworthy cause. Well, that definition tarnishes my reputation.
Carol Lee is hardly a stereotyped Scarlot Harlot. For one thing, she is a nice middle-class girl with a master's degree from Boston University. She didn't want to teach, and she didn't want to wait tables.
But what about prostitution? Selling your talents for a Porsche.
You know, they say there's no turning back. Once you do it, that's it. And it's true. You know, I have a certain knowledge from it, and I'm glad that I have the knowledge, and I'm glad that I can share it with people. But I was in a period of low esteem at the time, and I just decided, why not? I moved to San Francisco, and I saw all the signs around San Francisco: sex, massage, girls. And, you know, prostitution's a lot more open here than it was in Boston. And I figured, I'm a writer. I mean, well, Ernest Hemingway, he went off to war, right? It seems really obvious that a woman writer would go into prostitution and report about it.
I have more money than I've ever had before. Color TV. Stereo. Panoramic view. Push-button fireplace.
I'd been writing poetry as Scarlot Harlot, and then because I felt like people needed to see a real prostitute, I decided to read my poetry in public. And I'm a natural comedian, and I think particularly when life is hard, I always resort to comedy.
Priscilla, I would like to portray myself as the cool, independent, efficient businesswoman that a feminist is supposed to be, not as a wanton slut, although everyone appreciates that image so much.
I think there's an idea that because women are sexual objects in prostitution, that this is like a non-feminist thing to do. Actually, we all know that we don't want to confine ourselves to being sexual objects, but our sexuality is a resource for us. I think it's very important that we start making the money from our own sexuality and put it into our own causes.
Carol's main cause, of course, is writing, producing, and performing Scarlot Harlot, and prostitution, to her, is a means to an end.
I work as little as possible, sex work, that is, and that's because I don't really like doing sex work that much. I started doing it as an investigation, and at this point, it's pretty much a method of funding for me.
I'm proud that I'm proud that I'm not ashamed. And I'm going to announce it to the whole world. I'm going to tell everyone. Who should I tell first? My mother.
My mother knows I'm a prostitute, and yes, in my show, I actually play my mother, and my mother tells the audience what it's like for her to have a daughter who's a prostitute.
Some people use their hands, they're magicians. Some people use their mouths, they're politicians. Some people use their feet, they tap dance. You use your...
And the truth is, it's a big stigma for her. And in a way, it's a burden to have a daughter who's this political and who admits she's a prostitute. But I think my mother's always supported me in everything.
What's happened to my life? Maybe I should have got married.
I don't think I would like to be doing this when I'm 40 or 50.
Where's my trap
But I
house?
think I would rather do this than
My
teach.
station wagon.
And
My ice cube dispensing
my goal is
refrigerator.
basically, I'm taking it step at a time. I would really like to get Scarlot Harlot to off-Broadway. Ideally, I would like to be a combination writer-actress. I'd like movies to be made about Scarlot Harlot, and I would be like Mae West. And I would write my own dialogue, and I'd have my own persona. She's a celebrity hooker, celebrity hooker, appearing on TV in every bar.
Carol is becoming, in her own words, a celebrity hooker. She's a spokesperson for Coyote, the prostitutes' organization, and her performances are getting some attention in the press. But is a comic prostitute only a curiosity, or will Carol be able to use her notoriety to leave prostitution behind and make a career in show business?
Well, I'll be a good experiment, and everyone can watch, and they can see if I get out of the life, and then they'll know it's possible. And I guess I've been living my life that way. I think I'm just trying to explore that possibility and let people see what becomes of me. I would really like to marry a rich producer. I think that's really like the perfect kind of prostitution for me.
Well, Carol Lee will be performing The Adventures of Scarlot Harlot, bits of which you just saw there, next week at the Valencia Rose in San Francisco.